Xbox On. Welcome to Xbox On, a podcast with one host about one console, Xbox. I'm said host Jesse DeRosa, and on today's episode, we'll be talking about the latest Xbox news for the week of July 31st, 2025, including Xbox reverses their decision to charge $80 for The Outer Worlds 2. We have our first look at Battlefield 6. I want more Jamaican beef patties, and more. This week in Xbox history in the year 2021, 4 years ago, G.I. Joe Operation Blackout was released for the Xbox One console. Now, this game sucks, but I like this game, kinda. I played this game. Do you guys remember this game? No, of course you don't, because why the hell would anyone have picked up G.I. Joe Operation Blackout? The thing is, this came out in 2021, which was the same year the Snake Eyes movie came out, and even though I grew up, thinking G.I. Joe was cool, I didn't really grow up like a G.I. Joe kid. I was very into Spider-Man, X-Men, what else did I like? I don't know, Lego, Nintendo, everything Nintendo, and then on to Xbox and other things as I grew up. But I don't know, G.I. Joe wasn't really my thing, but for some reason, in 2021 when that Snake Eyes movie came out, I had the light switch moment where I was like, hey, my man-child brain now likes G.I. Joe, and then I started going through a big G.I. Joe kick where I was watching the TV show, and then I was watching, all the other movies that all sucked, but I kind of went crazy on G.I. Joe, and so this game came out around that time, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to play this game, and I played it, and it was horrible. Developed by Game Mill, who are known for making really, really shitty, cheap, budgety licensed games. This is just it's a little mission-based Gears of War knockoff G.I. Joe game that feels horrible to play, has random difficulty spikes, gets a little boring at times, but was fun enough that I played all of it. So I guess I didn't hate it that much, but I don't recommend this game to anyone. This is one of those not even guilty pleasure. This is one of those I'm not proud to admit, it's like a closeted game. I'm not proud to admit I played this game, but I did do it. So I have to own up to it. The achievement data doesn't lie. But anyway, G.I. Joe Operation Blackout. Would I recommend it? No. Did I play it? Yes. That should be the review. Just that. But anyway, guys, welcome to the Xbox On Podcast, episode 322. Notable game releases? There's one definitely worth mentioning, which is Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. So that's out the day this podcast goes live, Thursday, July 31st. Now, this is that new Dotemu developed, the guys that make Blasphemous. This is their new Ninja Gaiden game. They got the Ninja Gaiden license, and it is a classic Ninja Gaiden game, like NES-style Ninja Gaiden, 2D, side-scrolling, apparently hard as nails, Ninja Gaiden faithful. I don't have any experience playing the original Ninja Gaiden games, so that's not my exposure to the series. It really is just the Xbox games. So this will be interesting. I have every intention of giving this game a go. Problem is, I'm just really into Donkey Kong right now, so I'm I don't need to play this at launch, but I will play this sooner rather than later. I suspect this is a game I will get to this year, and I am looking forward to it. It does look good. It's reviewing quite well. I just don't know that it's going to be a game that knocks my socks off, but I hope it does. I never know with these kind of retro-inspired games where it's I don't know, I either get really sucked into them, I'm like, why don't I play more of these? Or I play a little bit of them, and I'm like, I get it, I'm good. So I'm hoping this game is excellent. I think it seems like people who are fans of the genre or grew up with the series seem to really enjoy it, so I'm expecting good things from it. That's Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, and then of course we'll get Ninja Gaiden 4 later this year on Xbox through Game Pass, and it's a second-party published game, so it's also going to be on PlayStation, all that shit, because Xbox doesn't make games anymore for Xbox, etc., etc., etc. So that's it for what's coming out this week. You guys, we're going to keep rolling with the podcast the way we've been doing it, where it's just kind of news, what I've been playing, comments, because we're still in that lull, although as we'll talk about in a moment here, it looks like we're about to get some good stuff because Gamescom is coming real soon, and Xbox is going to be a little more involved in Gamescom this year than they've been the past couple of years, so that'll be interesting to see. Definitely some news coming out of that. And then on top of that, it looks like there's a couple things that might be happening the day this podcast goes live that will I don't know, make us feel a little left out again, a little behind the curve. I'm tired of this. Xbox we're about to talk about Obsidian rolling back the price on Outer Worlds. Why does it always have to happen the fucking day the podcast goes live? What's up with you guys? So That was last Thursday, and then this Thursday there might be Xbox games at Nintendo Direct. There's going to be a Battlefield 6 trailer for multiple. It doesn't. We'll get into it. I don't understand. We got to do something about the scheduling of the podcast, but we'll come back to that, guys. Let's just get right on into the stories to talk about this week. The news related items. Not a whole lot of meandering about. I don't know. My energy is just a little off this week. We've had my girlfriend's sisters have been visiting us for the past almost week, and it's just been, there's something about living in solitude with nothing but cats and your girlfriend for 7 years and then having a couple of teenagers stay with you for a week to really remind you. I don't really know where I'm going with it because they're nice kids. They're well-behaved kids. I like them. Makes my girlfriend happy, of course, to have her sisters around, so it's awesome. They're cool kids. I'm not complaining about them by any means, but, it's like your whole way of life is kind of turned upside down when you have visitors. It doesn't matter if they're family, friends, your girlfriend's family, your wife's family, whatever, your family. It doesn't matter. It's all the same thing. It's like your life kind of just gets out of sorts, and it's like, oh, I can't walk around in my boxers because there's other people here, that kind of thing. So, I mean, that's always like the barometer for me to like how comfortable is my life right now. It's like when I get home from work, can I go commando in my own house? If the answer is no, then you're not comfortable. Something's wrong. And I guess that's kind of where I am. I'm coming fresh off of 5 days of having to be aware that there are other people in my home. But they are on their way back to good old Georgia, and I am here alone with nothing but cats, doing some podcast recording with all you fine fellas. And I say fellas because I'm very acutely aware there are no women listening to this podcast, except for you. Thank you, Mom. Of course, Mom. Thank you. Anyway, let's get into it. News. Yes, that's why we come here. Not to talk about going commando in the comfort of your own home, but to talk about the things going on in the world of Xbox. Good, bad. Satya Nadella bragging about how the company's really healthy. And did you see? We're not going to talk about it in the news, but there was that quote from Satya Nadella where he's like, the layoffs at Xbox have really been weighing on me heavily. It's like, dude, shut the fuck up. And then like the same discussion, he's like, the company's never been healthier than it is right now. Microsoft is doing great. Initiatives in AI are really coming along nicely. It's like, you absolute piece of shit. Like, how? God, it's like it takes a special kind of person to be able to do what these kinds of guys are capable of doing. These CEOs. So shout out to them for just being really good at being kind of awful. But guys, let's start out with our news for realsies. All right, we'll just go down the list of the line of like importance, I guess. So, Outer Worlds 2, this happened right as the podcast went live last week, of course. So, it's old news at this point, but important news nonetheless. Microsoft has reversed their plans to price the next big RPG, Outer Worlds 2, at the higher $80 price point. When the Obsidian sequel will release in October 29th, it will now cost $70 as opposed to $80. As an Xbox spokesperson said, we're focused on bringing more players to this incredible worlds to explore, and we'll keep the full price holiday release, including Outer Worlds 2, at $70 in line with current market conditions. I want to focus on that, and we'll keep our full priced holiday releases, including Outer Worlds 2, at $70. That makes me think that even Black Ops 7 is probably going to be a $70 game, which is quite an interesting decision, because if there's any game they have that they can get away with charging $80, it's fucking Call of Duty. So interesting to see that. Sounds like the $80 price tag is going to come back around, but not this year, is how I'm reading that. Now, Obsidian wrote in their social media channels the following quote: "We have received your SOS via Skip Drone about the pricing and an organization devoted to making sure the corporations do not go unfettered. We at the Earth Directorate have worked with Redacted to revise the price of the Outer Worlds 2. While this will not bring peace to your galaxy or even your local colony, we assure you that we are here to fight for all colonies in every way we can. The Outer Worlds 2 is set for release on October 29th for Xbox Series consoles, PC, and of course PlayStation. It will be available, of course, day one on Game Pass." So this is why I hate talking about these kinds of stories when they're like a week old. It's like, what else is there to say? My knee-jerk reaction is the same knee-jerk reaction I saw from the rest of the internet, which is, wow, pre-orders must have been really fucking bad for this game for them to have reversed this decision. Because the only thing worse than agreeing to take the PR hit and saying, fuck it, we're doing $80 games, is then reversing it, because now you get the regular slap across the face from your consumer base bitching about how you're raising prices, and then you get the backhand slap on the way in the other direction of people being like, yeah, you fucking bitch, now lick your wounds. No one wants to pay $80 for your game. Now make less money, eat some humble pie, deal with the bullshit that you dealt with before when we were mad at you, and just understand that we generally trust you less and think less of you now, and you're going to make less money off of this product as a result. So these decisions aren't made lightly. I just think that I don't even know how to put it. It's like, did they not have intelligent people in the room when they decided that Outer Worlds 2 was going to be their first $80 game? Was it not so obvious this is not the game to do that? Outer Worlds is not an Elder Scrolls tier game. It's not a Halo tier game. It's not a Gears of War tier game. It's definitely not a Call of Duty tier game. You can't get away with that. This is not the game to do it. I'm not saying that down the line Outer Worlds cannot be the kind of game to be $80. I'm saying in a world where nobody is really doing the $80 thing yet, Nintendo's kind of doing it. Rumors suggest that Grand Theft Auto might be doing it, but no one's like really doing it yet. It's like, what the fuck makes you think Outer Worlds 2 is going to be the game to normalize this kind of pricing structure? It's just fucking brain dead. It's hubris. It's absolutely insane. And it's one of those many Xbox decisions where you're like, why wasn't there someone with a slightly above average IQ in the room there to say, hey guys, this is the worst game to do this with? But now here we are walking it back. So they get like the worst of both worlds, and it looks really bad for them. But of course, it is good news at the end of the day that the game is going to be $70 instead of $80. I'm sure that will help a little bit, but damage has already been done. So again, this is just them kind of getting double fucked by being stupid and handling this the wrong way. But yes, it is good that the game is going to be $70. It is nice that players don't have to worry, at least for a little bit longer, about what Xbox is doing with their pricing here. But they basically leave the door open to say, hey, we'll come back and try this again later. So fuck you. You know, it's like you didn't defeat the devil. You just sent him back to hell for a little while. So I don't know. I guess this is a temporary victory. Pat yourself on the back, but be warned. This whole story will be resurfacing again probably sometime next year. Anyway, so I don't really know what more to make of that. I mean, it's just really the bigger story here is just the hubris and the stupidity in deciding that Outer Worlds 2 was going to be that game for you. I mean, hell, Forza would have been a better pick. Fable would have been a better pick. Elder Scrolls 6 is probably the best pick. The next Halo would have been a better pick. The next Gears would have been a better pick. The next Call of Duty would have been a better pick. It's like you just have so many more games. I mean, maybe even something like Blade or Indiana Jones could have gotten away with it better, because you could at least lean on the excuse of like, hey, licensing this IP is super, super expensive. This helps, offset the cost of paying Disney a ransom fee in order to put old man Harrison Ford in our video game. Like, you could at least hide behind an excuse like that. But with Outer Worlds, it's like, this is the sequel to a smaller scale Fallout alternative game that was originally published by a B team second tier publisher, because the main publisher 2K didn't even want to publish the game, so they gave it to Private Division, and now that it's under the Xbox banner, we just suddenly think it's an $80 game. It's just a little brain dead, a little stupid, but it's good that they made the right move here. I don't think games shouldn't be allowed to cost $80, but I think if you're going to do it, you got to go about it in a moderately intelligible way. Like, I don't know how Nintendo did. How Nintendo's like, hey, here's our first $80 game. To soften the blow, 95% of you fuckers are going to get it for $50 by bundling it with your brand new Switch 2 console. And they still got a shit ton of blowback for doing that, because no one wants $80 games. Crazy. But Nintendo handled it correctly by being like, here's a way to soften the blow. It's $80, but you're getting it for $50. Probably, most likely, most people will. And then like Grand Theft Auto is another one of those games where it's like, it's such a cultural moment that it's like they could get away with $80 because they could be like, dude, it's GTA 6. Fuck you, you'll buy it. And they're right. But not Outer Worlds 2. This is just the wrong game. So again, more bad PR for Xbox, less money they're going to make because they canceled the game at $80. Pre-order numbers were probably abysmal. At least they can make money on PlayStation, where this game's actually going to make its, sell its copies. Anyway, so let's move on, guys. Speaking of Gamescom, so Xbox is coming to Gamescom in a little bit more of an official capacity than usual from Pure Xbox. In August, the mammoth event, Gamescom, will take place in Cologne, Germany. The big news is that Microsoft is hosting 2 live stream events during that, during the convention, and they'll take place across 2 days. So some of the games we already know that will be there are like Black Ops 7, Ninja Gaiden 4, etc. But the team expects first look gameplay and developer interviews and new trailers and updates and more during these 2 live streams, which will take place on Wednesday and Thursday of the event. So here are the exact dates and times. So day 1 will be Wednesday, August 20th. At 9 a.m. Eastern time, the only time zone that matters. That is when Xbox will go live. Both Wednesday the 20th and Thursday the 21st. The stream will be at 9 a.m. Eastern time. On day 1, they will talk about the Xbox Ally, ROG, handheld, whatever. They'll talk about Grounded 2, Keeper, Call of Duty Black Ops 7, and more. So that'll probably be the bigger day, right? Then day 2, they talk about Ninja Gaiden 4, Overwatch 2, Outer Worlds 2, and more, as they say. So, obviously the big things here are the ROG Ally Xbox handheld, COD Black Ops 7, Ninja Gaiden, and Outer Worlds 2. So, of course, they split those 4 items across 2 days to try to get people to tune in for both days. And then in addition to these 2 days of broadcasting, Bethesda will also be live streaming throughout the event, and you can expect 3 days of Bethesda live streaming, which will feature developer interviews, game showcases, community segments, crafting highlights, and IRL tours. Those will be on Friday, August 22nd. So Wednesday is Xbox Day 1, Thursday is Xbox Day 2, Friday is Bethesda IRL tours, which nobody gives a shit. All right, so obviously this is exciting to know that we'll be getting some notable, some substantive Xbox news. And let's see when this is, 1, 2, 3 weeks from now. Now, of course, we'll be able to talk about half this news on that week's podcast, because the other half of it will happen the day the podcast goes live. But I probably won't delay the podcast a day just to accommodate it, because it's, Gamescom is notable news, but it's not like E3 level news. I mean, they're not going to be like, here's the release date for Fable, and here's a groundbreaking trailer for Fable, and here's the reveal of Phil Spencer's 7th born child. They're not going to do stuff like that. So I just expect that this is going to be, especially the day they're showing Outer Worlds and Ninja Gaiden, it's like, we already have release dates for these. We've already seen them extensively. There's not too much you're going to say and show during these that's like, delay the podcast, we got to talk about the 5th trailer for Outer Worlds 2. It's like, all right, come on. So there's that. And then, yes, I mean, that's Gamescom 3 weeks from now. I'm just excited to see Black Ops 7. That's really all I care about, because Ninja Gaiden, already seen it. Outer Worlds 2, already seen it. I'm going to play those games. I don't care. The ROG Xbox handheld Ally, I don't care. I've gone from like, oh, that's cool, that's there for some people, maybe I'll get it, to like, no, I don't give a shit about that thing. But Black Ops 7, we haven't seen that game yet. I'm really eager to see, cautiously optimistic, a little apprehensive about how they're going to handle the direct follow-up to the legendary Black Ops 2 game from Call of Duty's heyday. So very much looking forward to that. Otherwise, I suspect there'll be some fun and interesting tidbits along the way. Guys, not only that, but we're also starting to get a look at Battlefield 6, which this past week got its first revealed trailer. However, the revealed trailer was exclusively for the game's campaign. Now, the day this podcast goes live, Thursday the 31st, we'll get another trailer, and that will be for the game's multiplayer, which is also when we're expecting to see the game's release date, a lot of people are saying. So by the time you're listening to this podcast, there's already a trailer for Battlefield 6's multiplayer and possibly even a release date, which rumors suggest it could be this year, before the end of the year, which would be really cool if that's the case, because assuming Black Ops 7 is a dud, which I think there's a good chance it might be, because it's one of those 1-year turnaround games, at least we have Battlefield 6. So anyway, EA has revealed the first trailer for Battlefield 6 and confirmed that it will hold an event for the multiplayer on Thursday next week. Let's see here. Let's read the quotes they gave us here. All right. Oh, look, they have Ronald Reagan in this one too. That's so cool. All right. They say, the trailer shows Pax Armada, a private military corporation bankrolled by former NATO states whose agenda threatens to throw the world into global conflict. And Battlefield 6, this series is an incredible blend of visceral combat, epic warfare, player freedom, and blah, blah, blah. Blow through walls and bring down buildings for a tactical advantage, or take to the skies with white-knuckle dogfights. Take part in a war filled with tanks, fighter jets, sweeping combat in grand scale. But remember, the deadliest weapon is your squad. Okay, so that's just basically saying, hey, it's a Battlefield game. And the campaign trailer looks cool. Listen, I'm excited that this game is going to have a campaign, considering 2042 didn't have a campaign, considering some of these more recent Battlefield entries had lackluster campaigns or vignette-style campaigns, which was a cool break from the norm for a while. But it has been a minute since we've had a really solid, standard-ass modern military shooter kind of Battlefield game. It's really been since Battlefield 3 and 4 came out, which was the end of the 360 early Xbox One era. That's like 2011 to 2013. So it'll be really cool to see proper Battlefield return in full form with multiplayer and campaign. And it seems like they're really obsessive about trying to get this one right after the blunder that was Battlefield 5, after the blunder that was Battlefield 2042. And honestly, they're probably looking at how Call of Duty has gotten this up and down mixed reception despite doing incredibly well still the past few years, and saying there's room for a competitor to come in and maybe just get a little bit more attention than usual. Now, nothing's bringing Call of Duty down anytime soon. That's just a given. But there is an opportunity for Battlefield 2. If they can really pull this game off and pull it off well, there's an opportunity for Battlefield 2 just get a little bit more attention than they otherwise normally would. And we've seen that happen from time to time with Battlefield. I feel like 2016 with Battlefield 1, that was one of those games where it was unique, it was novel, it was interesting at the time, and it was a good game. And it just got an extra layer of attention at a time where Call of Duty was kind of fatiguing people with like Infinite Warfare and Advanced Warfare and Warfare and all that stuff. So I feel like they have an opportunity to pull that move off again. Here with Battlefield 6, it's just about, Battlefield 4 had lots of server issues at launch, and Battlefield 2042 was kind of underdeveloped and broken in a lot of ways at launch. If they can just kind of come out the gate swinging with a mostly tight, content complete, fine-tuned product, I feel like they have the opportunity to really make a big impact at launch with this game. And we know that EA is trying to make Battlefield 6 more of a platform, more of a live service, and less of just the next entry in the series, which is interesting that they're going to call it Battlefield 6 if that's the case. But we know that because this next story here, which is that a CEO of Electronic Arts, Andrew Wilson, says that they have no plans to raise prices for the games. That's not the strategy that they're taking. In a Q&A during its earnings call, following a publication of its Q1 results for fiscal year 2016, why did I say fiscal year 2016? Shouldn't it be 2026? The company's executive team was asked about the pricing of their games. One caller noted that Nintendo releasing Mario Kart World for $80 and Microsoft attempting to charge $80 for Outer Worlds 2 before reversing the decision, and asked with this in mind whether EA stands with the $70 or $80 price point and where particular regard that falls for the upcoming Battlefield 6. CEO Andrew Wilson replied that EA has no plans to change its prices, but noted that EA already releases games at a range of prices from free-to-play to premium products to deluxe editions, such as the upcoming EA Sports FC, which is a $70 standard edition, $100 Ultimate Edition. He says, quote, "We're not looking to make any changes on the pricing stage, but that's in our construct of we already offer a fairly broad pricing scheme across our various products. When you think about everything from free-to-play through our premium products and our deluxe editions, our orientation is always to capture the full spectrum of pricing so that we can serve as many players in the best way possible and offer them the greatest value. We'll continue to look at opportunities to deliver great value to our players through various pricing schemes over the course of time, but dramatic changes are not planned yet." And then lastly, the CFO, Stuart Canfield, added that EA's healthy live service revenue, the company's focus on building player base and continuing to earn from them over the course of a game's life rather than increasing the base price. So I think that last part's probably the most important part there, which is Andrew Wilson saying, hey, we're not changing the price. That's not how we see things going. But the CFO then says, why would we just charge more if we could just try to find better ways to make more money? You think about Fortnite doesn't need to be $80 because the cost of development is going up. Fortnite is free to play, and people are falling all over themselves to spend $20 on skins because they want to see Hank Hill destroy Ronald Reagan. However, EA with Andrew Wilson is like, we could be somewhere in the middle. We have free to play games that make tons of money, but we could have premium games that are priced at a standard price point and then continue to have revenue generation through a live service aspects, which is probably where they're gearing towards taking Battlefield. And it sounds like that's what Stuart Canfield is kind of alluding to, which is like, hey, Apex Legends is our free to play moneymaker. Now we need a premium live service game, and we're really all hands on deck and trying to make Battlefield that game. I think that was really what Battlefield 2042 was always trying to be. It's just a matter of, can they really pull it off? And I hope that with Vince Zampella and some of the Respawn talent, some of these other teams they have assisting DICE in the development of Battlefield 6, that they're able to really strike a chord and make a Battlefield that is authentically Battlefield while also has a lot of good decision making, careful and I don't know, just very, very well executed approach to development of this game through the various leaders and skilled teams they have working on this game. Because I mean, this is not just DICE's baby now. It is a lot of people at EA. And so I think the plan here is to try and really, really knock it out of the park and kill with Battlefield 6, as opposed to just make the next Battlefield game. So I think that's kind of what we're looking at here. Now, I don't even know what I was trying to say there. But yeah, I mean, that's Battlefield 6. We'll see the multiplayer soon. By the time you're listening to this, it's already available to look at. I am very interested to see the multiplayer, because I think if they can somehow pull off like an October, November release for this game, and then it comes out polished and running well and everything, and it's content complete, and it's a really good Battlefield game, I feel like that will be kind of a really big fall release, like a out of left field. You know, you think about, we're waiting for Ninja Gaiden, we're waiting for Call of Duty, we're waiting for Outer Worlds, but it's like, did anyone really consider what if Battlefield 6 comes on scene and just kind of knocks it out of the park? Because I'll be honest, even though I generally prefer Call of Duty to Battlefield, and if you give me a brand new Call of Duty and a brand new Battlefield and tell me to give them both a try and see which one I want to stick with, 9 times out of 10, the first month of Call of Duty is going to be way more my speed than Battlefield, because Call of Duty is going to be awesome. It's going to have a cool campaign. It's going to have zombies mode. It's going to have a really addicting, fast action multiplayer. But what's going to happen is, after the game's a month or two old, I'll be like, yeah, I already played the campaign, I'm over it. And then the zombies will be like, yeah, zombies are great, but sometimes I want multiplayer. And the multiplayer will just be like, yeah, all the base maps are no longer in rotation. There's all these new game modes. All the game modes I liked are already gone. And it went from like 24 dudes in military outfits shooting each other to like the fucking shoe carnival mascot and Ronald McDonald like dry humping each other as like a melee takedown move. It's like, what is happening in this game? So Call of Duty just devolves into utter bullshit nowadays within like 3 weeks of releasing. And so if Battlefield could be a game that maintains its identity and its integrity, at least for more than 38 minutes of its existence, I think that would be pretty tantalizing, especially for a lot of deflated or in some cases lapsed Call of Duty players. Because man, there's something really interesting about a game that's not only good at launch, but a game that's good 6 months, a year, 2 years later after launch. And when you pick up and play that game, it still has its identity and its integrity in place. Whereas, you get it on Black Ops 6 now, and it is unrecognizable from where it was when it came out 9 months ago or whatever it was. So that's another thing I think that Battlefield could really double down on, is like, hey, we're going to try to maintain the look and feel of Battlefield and not just capitulate to like, hey, you guys want to see Hank Hill raping Dr. Phil? You can buy that skin or emote or whatever because Fortnite does it and we know it makes money, so fuck you, buy it. So I just really hope that is another thing Battlefield can do to kind of set itself apart. If I could just like not play as like a pop star or a hip hop star in one of these military shooters, that would be pretty fucking cool in my opinion. That would be a win. I'm not asking for much in 2025. There's very little I need to feel like I'm being catered to or seen or represented in some way. So I'd very much enjoy that. All right, guys, let's keep moving on. So get away from EA and let's move on over to Warner Bros., who are also making some questionable decisions in the way that maybe, Activision's making some questionable decisions by allowing you to play as Martha Stewart in Call of Duty. Okay, so despite the high-profile failure of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League last year, Warner Bros. Is hiring for a new live service game. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was released last year and met with middling reviews and fan backlash. Developed by Batman Arkham studio Rocksteady, the game's live service approach and take on the DC universe left fans unhappy, leading to weak sales and small player numbers. Now, a job listing for upcoming projects from WB Games suggests that the company isn't finished with its attempt to establish a live service title in the DC universe. The job listing for an executive producer says a successful applicant will lead the development of a high-quality AAA game based on one of its iconic IP from the vast WB and DC Comics catalog. The job listing also notes that it includes overseeing all phases of development from concept to post-launch live operations, suggesting a live service element to the mystery project. Done. All right, now this doesn't say what team at WB it is, so it doesn't say Rocksteady, and the word is that Rocksteady have gone back to the drawing board and are doing a traditional Batman Arkham game. And here's the thing, I know a lot of people are going to read this and be like, when will they learn? What a dumb idea. I don't think making a DC live service game was the dumbest idea of all time. In fact, I think it's a good idea. And here's how I know. Because, yeah, everyone, I'm one of the few people that actually liked Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, but it's not even about that. It's like, yeah, so Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League wasn't what people were wanting, and it failed pretty hard in a lot of ways. But it's a live service DC superhero game. You know what else is a live service superhero video game? Competing company Marvel Entertainment with their fucking Marvel Rivals fucking knockoff Overwatch free-to-play game that is just tearing it up right now. That is a free-to-play live service superhero game with Marvel characters. So obviously it's a very, very different game from Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, but that's exactly my point is I wouldn't let the idea of a live service DC superhero game terrify me or you or whatever. In general, I think there's a lot you could do with that. In fact, the other week I was playing for the first time DC Universe Online, which is pretty old at this point, but that's a live service DC video game. So I'm just saying you can make an MMORPG, you can make a multiplayer arena combat game, you can make a lot of different things, something story driven, something not story driven, something that's like a fighter. You could basically just make what's it called, Injustice 3, and make it a live service game. I mean, there's a lot of things it could be. So I don't think people should get scared off immediately by the idea of it being a live service game. But yes, obviously, if they were trying to make like Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League 2, it's like that would be like, oh my God, you guys, you didn't learn a fucking thing, you fucking morons. Obviously, that would be a conundrum. But I don't think that this is what they're doing. I think that they know that they have an IP that has staying power and that's sticky and that's worth continuing to develop and invest in, and that someone somewhere out there has the idea and the ability to execute to make a live service game featuring these DC superhero characters that will resonate with a big, big audience and become a huge financial success. And they feel confident about it. I mean, I also feel confident about it. I don't know what the game looks like. Maybe you rip off Marvel Rivals. I think that's probably a bad idea, but I do think there is an option to do something. And I think, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is a game that is looking at Destiny and saying, how can we have one of those? And my guess, if I'm in the minds of the suits at WB right now, and I'm trying to figure out how to try this DC live service thing again, they're not looking at games like Destiny for inspiration. They're probably looking at games like Marvel Rivals for inspiration. And, it's like, yeah, should they just be happy with the success of games like Hogwarts Legacy and the regular Batman Arkham games and so on and so forth, and Mortal Kombat and whatnot? Yeah, but do they kind of owe it to themselves that they can afford to do it, to try and invest further in live service initiatives and see if maybe they can have a Marvel Rivals of their own, or a Warzone or a Fortnite of their own? It's like, of course they should. It's like, you'd kind of be stupid not to try, because yes, it's high risk, but it's very, very high reward. So even though it seems stupid from a consumer point of view, like, why are you going to try this again? It's like, from a financial standpoint, it's like, if you have the means to do so, if you can afford to take on the risk, it's like, yeah, you'd kind of be stupid not to try, until you're no longer in a position where you can afford to try any longer. So, I mean, is it brand damaging to keep doing these things and failing at them? Of course it is. But is there a huge carrot at the end of that stick? Yeah. And so I personally get it. I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh my God, Suicide Squad was so dumb, why are you doing this? But it's like, I think you're kind of missing the point. But to each their own. I don't know. I'm open-minded to it. Do I still want my single-player DC superhero games? Absolutely. But am I open-minded to a really good live service title featuring these characters? Yeah, I think so. Just please, for love of God, give us a Static Shock video game. That's all I want. All right, guys, let's continue on. Talk about Splitgate. Speaking of live service games that aren't really hitting, from VGC, Splitgate 2 has unlaunched, according to developer 1047 Games. An unspecified number of staff have also been laid off due to the change. The shooter, which was released back in June, has faced low player numbers during its opening weeks and mixed fan feedback from players. Now, developer 1047 Games has said it's taking the game off sale in order to work on further, listen to the fan complaints, and attempt to move forward. Quote, "We believe in Splitgate 2, an open message from 1047 founder Ian Prolux said, as well as Nicholas Bagamian. We launched too early. We had an ambitious goal with Splitgate 2, which is our excitement to share with you. We bit off more than we could chew. We rushed certain features, made some bonehead mistakes, and most importantly, we didn't give you a polished portal-filled mayhem that you fell in love with. The game is going to be back in a beta, and the team is going heads down until 2026. It's claimed that a major part of the game was rebuilt, and fan-requested features such as less complex monetization model and refocus on classic game modes is important. The statement then addressed the job losses in the studio will face as a result of the change, saying that rebuilding a core experience isn't a quick fix and a long-term commitment. To give ourselves time to fix and to build on the Splitgate that you deserve, we've made the incredibly difficult decision to reduce certain roles and shift our focus and resources on this rework. It's heartbreaking. These are our teammates, our friends, and they've helped us build to where we are today. They've received severance and job payment support, and we're committed to doing everything we can to help them through their transition. We hope to bring them back when we can. But lastly, the founders also announced that the studio will be making original Splitgate servers, taking the original Splitgate games servers offline next month due to them costing the studio hundreds of thousands of dollars. Meaning that basically, Splitgate is about to go into a phase where there is no Splitgate 1, Splitgate 2 is in a beta phase, and then Splitgate 2 should come back out sometime next year. Basically, what a failure, so to speak. Man, I don't know. I played Splitgate 2 when it first came out during Summer Game Fest in June. And here's the thing is, like, it's fun, but it was instantly like the first game where I was like, this is great, a little bit of this, but then there's no staying power. There's nothing about this game that, like, pulls me in and makes me want to stick around with it. Like, I don't like the aesthetic. I don't like the characters. I don't like the world. There's no lore. There's nothing to cling on to. It's just, like, fun mechanics with a bland world. And then I feel like, the Battle Royale mode was cool in this game. It was a unique twist on Battle Royale, but it's like, I just don't want another Battle Royale. And then the multiplayer maps, I heard a lot of people complain about the lack of portals in it. I just felt like, generally speaking, I was like, I don't need this arena shooter. I just feel like I could just go play Halo Infinite if I really wanted to. I'm not needing this game right now. So to me, the game was fine. It just felt a little off. And it seems like a lot of fans who knew the game more intimately, who knew the series more intimately than I do, had bigger issues with some of the decisions they did with that. So it's really sad to see people's jobs affected and that the game is kind of, bombing or whatever, so to speak. But unfortunately, these things are just all too common these days. And I saw some people saying, it's like, oh, they got all that bad will because at Summer Game Fest, the dude was like, oh, I want Titanfall 3 and I hate Call of Duty, and that's why we're making Splitgate. It's like, I don't think that had a whole lot to do with this. I think most people just didn't really want a Splitgate 2, and maybe a lot of the diehard fans were disappointed with the state in which the game was in. So that's really where we are. But I my personal opinion, and I hope I'm wrong, I don't think when Splitgate 2 comes back in a year or so that it's gonna be much better. I think this game was a one-trick pony. It came and went, and now it's time to move on to the next thing. But I hope I'm wrong, and I hope they're able to pull something amazing out of their butts and really turn this thing around and get these guys back into the workforce. So, yeah, wishing all the best. Splitgate, not for me, but I hope it finds its footing. All right, this one there's not a whole lot to say about. Nintendo has a direct tomorrow, the day this podcast goes live. It's one of those partner directs where they're going to talk about third-party games. And so this will go live actually Thursday, the same time this podcast goes live at 9 a.m. Eastern. But my guess is that I don't care. I don't have a guess. There is a chance that we will see some Xbox-related content at this direct because they said they're going to talk about Switch 1 and Switch 2 games from publishing partners. So could Xbox be at this event? Absolutely. Will they be at this event? Who the fuck knows? I'm just throwing it out there. We might end up talking about this next week, depending on how this plays out. And then lastly, we got a quick one here, but a little bit of disappointing news. Dying Light the Beast has been delayed for 4 weeks, very close to its original release date. So it was supposed to come out August 22nd. Now it's coming out September 19th. So Techland, the developers, said the short delays to polish the game further, and as well as to allow fine-tuning to gameplay elements, clarity on the game's UI, increase the quality of graphics, and tweak cutscenes and player animations. So, hey, a little bit of a delay to make the game a better product at launch is what it is. Happens all the time. Weird to have it delayed only a month out, so close to launch, but nonetheless, do what you gotta do, make the game right. I'm sure people will be fine. There's plenty of things to play in the meantime. But guys, that is it for all of our news. Now I'm going to take a quick water break, and then we'll come back with what I've been eating and playing. All right, I'm back. Let's do it. Let's talk about the games I've been playing. I checked my phone while I was taking the water break. The Rays are leading the Yankees right now. How much you want to fucking bet? By the time we're done recording here, I checked my phone again, The pitching team has fucking buried us. I bet you. Anyway, guys, now it's time for what I've been playing. But before I can tell you about what it is I've been playing, this week I want to really sit down and let you know. Sit you down like a father telling his kid about the talk, the birds and the bees, and let you really know what it is I've been eating. Golden Crust. So I'm really in a mood for a Jamaican beef patty right now. I don't know what it is. The Jamaican beef patties are all the rage in my mind because I can't get enough of them. I love a good Jamaican beef patty, and here's the thing is there's this chain restaurant called Golden Crust. It's a Jamaican restaurant chain. I don't know where the hell. I don't know if they're from Jamaica or if it's from New York or what. I don't know, but they're all over Central Florida because we got a lot of Caribbean people here, so it's cool. And I love Golden Crust. It's a decent place with decent prices to get, some jerk chicken, some sweet plantains, some rice and beans, and of course, not oxtail, not ackee and saltfish. I'm talking fucking Jamaican beef patties, the classics. I love them. Love a spicy beef patty. And recently found out Golden Crust, the chain Jamaican restaurant, sells their patties in frozen form at the grocery store. And so I got those. I tried them. Pretty fucking solid. Not bad at all. It's like $4. Comes with a pack of 2. Not bad at all. But then I found out there's another brand that's even better. And I tried that brand. I already forgot the name. It's really bad packaging. It looks really cheap, but they're amazing. It's like Island Caribbean Jamaican beef patty style pate flavors, and then it has Spanish on the box as well. I don't know, but they're awesome. And I got those ones, and I don't know how they can be so crispy when you microwave them. You think they'd be like all mushy, but they're somehow still so delicious and crispy. And I just got to give a shout out to the Jamaican beef patty. Of course, they're way, way better when you go to the restaurant and get them. But when you get them in the frozen aisle, they're pretty fucking great. That's the weird thing. It's like I'm used to you go to the Italian restaurant and you get some rigatoni, and it's like, this is good shit. And then you go to the frozen food aisle at your grocery store and you get some frozen pasta. It's like, that's dog shit. But not with the Jamaican beef patty. You get the frozen one at the grocery store, and it's like 70% of the way there, maybe even a little more. It's pretty fucking good. So I just want to give a huge shout out to the Jamaican beef patty. I've been eating them like crazy. I probably had 3 of them this week, and I want more all the time. I'm really craving them. So I'm thinking about Golden Crust when I'm thinking about going out to eat, and I'm thinking about stopping by the grocery store and grabbing a box of the frozen patties when I'm grocery shopping. It's a problem right now, me and the patties. And the thing is, it's one of those things where I like them a lot, and my girlfriend doesn't care for them at all. So every time we buy them, it's up to me. They're all mine. I'm eating all of them. There's no indication. There's no potential for confusion where it's like, I bought a whole box of these and there's only one left. Who did that? It's all me. So just shout out to the Jamaican beef patty. They're beautiful. I love them, and I love you. But that's it for what I've been eating, guys. Let's talk about what it is I've been playing. Of course, I'm still playing Donkey Kong Bonanza. I haven't had too much time to really play video games this week because we've had people visiting, and also I've gone to the movie theater a couple times to see Fantastic Four First Steps. So that's like the big entertainment thing I've done is see the new Fantastic Four movie. But I am playing Donkey Kong Bonanza. The room where we keep the Switch has kind of been taken over by our guests. So the Switch too has been like on my nightstand, and I've just been playing like a little bit before bed every night in handheld mode, and falling asleep to some donkey magic. I don't have too much to say to this game because I'm probably only really like 5 or 6 hours into it, and I hear it's like surprisingly pretty long. But I will just say this game at its core is a Nintendo 3D platformer, but for some reason like my brain is so confused while I'm playing it because they do such a good job of making it not feel very, I don't know how to put it. I don't think linear is the word because the game is rather linear. There's open areas, but it is kind of linear. You follow a path and you go from one level to the next and one area to the next, but it just doesn't feel like, jump into a level, complete the level, jump out of the level, run around the hub world, find the next level, jump in. It doesn't feel like that. It's like go to a hub world, to a linear area, to a level, to a bigger hub world, to a boss area, to a hub world, and within these hub worlds, there's like little mini missions that are kind of like the little levels in Sonic Frontiers, but kind of like the trial gates from Zelda Breath of the Wild, but kind of like the little missions in the Splatoon campaign. And I can't shake the feeling that this game feels like Sonic Frontiers meets Wreck-It Ralph meets Splatoon with a little bit of Zelda Breath of the Wild and the art stylish kind of thing of like a Mario game. And it's just a very odd combination of things, but it is a superb game. The smashing and destructibility in this game is so endlessly addicting. There are so many times in this game I'll just start breaking shit and then get so sidetracked from what I'm doing because I'm just having fun breaking shit. And then the platforming is superb. The little missions are fun. It's simple and easy. The combat is decent enough. The boss battles are unique and interesting, although simple. And I'm just really enjoying how weird this game is. You're Donkey Kong. You're smashing blocks everywhere you go. You got this 13-year-old girl on your shoulder, and she sings and uses the power of her music to unlock portals and gates and levels. And it's just weird, and it's Japanese, and it's very Nintendo. But it is probably the most fun I've had with a 3D Mario whatever game since Galaxy. Because I liked Odyssey a lot. I know a lot of people think like Mario Odyssey on the Switch is like the best Mario of all time. I don't fall into that camp. I actually think the Mario Galaxy games are the best 3D Mario games. And then I think I might go Sunshine next. And then Odyssey, which is a tough thing to say because obviously Odyssey controls so perfectly and is so polished. And, Super Mario Sunshine, if you ever go back and play it, is rough. There's some difficulty spikes and control issues with that game. But I just really vibe with and love Mario Sunshine. And Mario Odyssey is a game where it's like I recognize its excellence, but I just don't connect with it as much as I connect with some of the other Mario games. So I'm not necessarily one of those like, oh, Mario Odyssey is amazing, this game's even better. I'm one of those people that's like, Mario Odyssey is technically excellent, but to me it was just a really great game, a little bit of a letdown, and I think Donkey Kong Bonanza is kind of doing it more for me than Mario Odyssey did with the Switch 1. So I'm really, really enjoying this game, but I know from what I've heard that the game really opens up and continues to evolve and add more and more as you progress and get into that once you get into that last third of the game, it really starts opening up in ways that are like so foreign to the first half of the game that you're like, how is this game still showing itself to me when I'm this deep into it? So I'm really excited to get to these parts and see what that means and see how this game unfolds and evolves, because right now it is a little, it's complex and dynamic. Well, no, it's not complex. It's simple, but deep. In terms of its mechanics and what all you can do and the exploration element of it. And I'm really enjoying that, but I'm ready to start seeing how it kicks it up a notch. So really loving Donkey Kong Bonanza. Don't have too much more to say about it, but that's really it for all I've been playing. Other than that, I mean, it's just, I'm hanging out with my girlfriend and these teenage girls this week, and we're going to fucking, I don't know, what do? We're going to restaurants, and we're watching fucking scary movies and painting dolls. I spent more time this past week making a doll of Superman than I have been playing video games. My girlfriend and her sisters decided that they were going to make Coraline inspired dolls. So like I'm talking about like crafting the heads from clay and using wire frame and sewing a body around it and stuffing it like a Build-A-Bear and like putting like yarn for hair and like painting the face on. Like we're like making dolls from scratch here. And so they're all making like little Coraline versions of themselves with like the beady eyes and everything, the button eyes and everything, and sewing it all up. And I'm like, I don't want to fucking make myself. That's dumb. So what did I do? I'm making Superman, but my Superman kind of looks Amish right now. So that's pretty cool. The head's done. The body's done. I haven't connected it yet. I just need to make the outfit and really put it all together. But that's the doll. And then I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do with this when I'm done? I was just kind of doing it to be nice and play along and have fun with the group. But now I got this Superman doll that's halfway done, and I have no desire to hold on to this thing once it's completed. But that's what I've been really playing this week. A little bit of Donkey Kong, a lot of bit of making a Superman doll from scratch. And I watched Fantastic Four First Steps 2 times in theaters. Pretty good. Personal opinion, I like Superman more. But important opinion / fact, they're both excellent, and I'm so grateful that both movies are here and good and fun to watch. It's been a great summer for superhero movies. I liked Thunderbolts a lot, like Fantastic Four a lot, and I'm loving Superman. So anyway, guys, that's it for what I've been playing. Let's take a little break here, and by break I mean let's just transition into the final segment, the best segment, the only segment we haven't touched on that we absolutely have to touch all over. We got to touch this segment like it's a young child, and you're Donald Trump on Epstein's island, and you're going to touch this child and then get away with it, and everyone's going to turn a blind head. And when you find people who are guilty for for allowing this man to persist. They're just going to go, listen, man, I don't care about his personal life. I just care about oil prices. And it's like, oh, very, very, very mature thing to hide behind. Very, very smart thing to say. And then he's going to slave trading of the children, slave trading among the children and with the children and to the sex offenders and the pedophiles and the fucking deviant freaks. And then we're all going to go, Obama, show us your birth certificate. What are we talking about here? Oh, yeah, the comments. Yeah, Obama is like the comments section. You go to youtube.com, you click on the Xbox On podcast, the latest episode of the show, and then you drop a comment. You can be like, Jesse, you're a stupid asshole. And I'll be like, true. Or you can be like, Jesse, you're a beautiful bastard. And I'll be like, true. Or you can be like, Jesse, no comment. I don't want to talk to you. And I'll be like, true. And then we'll read it on the show. And then everyone will have a nice laugh, or they'll ponder your thoughtful inquiries and commentary, and we will just all hold hands and sing Kumbaya, because that's really what this show's always been about. And to show us exactly what I'm talking about, I want to start off this week's comments with some really, really excellent news, which is that we have a returning friend. That's right. OG Man is back from the dead. You thought he died. In fact, he did die. But then I found his body in CPR'd all over his face, and now he's alive again. And OG Man comes back to say, hey, bro, I fell off the podcast and gaming as a whole in the past 2 years or so. Checking back in with you. I remember the last time I listened to you, you were building a house with your girlfriend. Any update on that? Sorry if you explained it already before. Anyway, hope all is well, brother. Miss you over on Twitter, too. When God of War drops... Oops, no, that's Gears of War. This is an Xbox podcast, you asshole. When Gears of War drops, let's get a squad going. Miss the Twitch game nights on Master Chief Collection and Halo Infinite. Yes, man, that was fun. I do miss the Twitch streaming. I don't like being beholden to the schedule, and I was tired most nights we were doing that because... I just wake up so early for work, and I work very long days and then stay up so late to do Twitch. So it just really wasn't working for me. It was pissing off my girlfriend that was like, Monday, I come home from work, I'm streaming. Tuesday, I come home from work, I'm working on the podcast. Wednesday, I come home from work, I'm recording and editing the podcast. And then Thursday comes around, it's like, wow, the whole week, all you've done is go to work and do podcast boy shit. And I'm like, okay. If I want to keep this relationship going, probably got to stop some of this stuff. So the streaming fell off, but I miss the streaming. More importantly, welcome back, OG Man. Glad to see you're here. Glad to see you're well and alive. I appreciate it. Sometimes you need to break from things. I have things like that in my life. For some reason, gaming isn't one of them. I never take breaks from gaming that are too long, and I never take breaks from my favorite gaming podcasts, but I am that way with a lot of things. Right now, I'm very much that way with Disney. I have just taken a huge hiatus from Disney. I'm not listening to any theme park commentary, podcasts, YouTube videos. I don't care. I don't care about any of it. I haven't been to Disney World since January. I just don't care. I'm taking a huge break from theme park shit right now, and it's been good and somewhat needed, and it's okay. It just happens, and I'm sure there will be a moment in the near future where it just hits me, and I got to go back to Disney World, and then I'm right back where I left off. But sometimes you just need that break from something you love. Distance makes the heart grow fonder, etc., etc. But yeah, as far as the house goes, yes, in late 2023, we built/bought a house. Well, we hired a builder company. They built the house. I didn't build the house. God, can you imagine how badly I'd be living, how poorly I'd be living if I had to build this house? But yeah, we moved into the house. We live in the house. The house is great. I love this house. It's the best part of my day is getting to come home and be like, hey, this is my house. I live here, and I own a percentage of it, and the bank owns the majority of it. But it is great, and yeah, so we're enjoying that. Yeah, not much more to say there. Got the room where I play the video games. Got the room where I sleep, and then my girlfriend even lets me come into the room where she and her boyfriend get to hang out. So sometimes that's nice. Anyway, thank you, OG Man, for writing in. Genuinely good to hear from you again. And yeah, let's play something sometime. I'd like to do something like that. I miss when there was a little bit more involvement with the listenership of Xbox On. I feel like it's dispersed a bit in recent years. Cronky writes in with the next one, says, can you reiterate why you don't like games getting announced so early? I prefer when they do get announcements, so I guess I just want to better understand where you are coming from. For example, imagine if Halo Wars 3 was 4 years off and they announced it tomorrow. I'd be pumped because at least I know it's coming, opposite to never knowing that if we would get another. I guess I just don't see the harm aside from the chance it gets canceled, but it seems silly for me, like not getting a relationship because you're afraid of it ending. Go see a therapist if that's your problem. I'll give you my response, but Decoy Doctopus wrote in response to what you said and gave his 2 cents and says, but what if the game gets canceled? And for the relationship comparison, it doesn't have a definite end date, i.e. the game's getting released. And it would be about a good times before it ended, which it wouldn't be the case if the game got announced and then canceled. Sorry to be so contrarian. No, that's fine. I think my approach to it is pretty different, and teach their own. Who gives a shit? It doesn't fucking matter at the end of the day when a game gets announced, when it gets released, and how you consume it. It's at the end of the day, it's what matters is if the game is real and if it's good and if you enjoy playing it. But it really depends on the game. So, like, for example, like the one of the biggest ongoing ones in the industry right now is Elder Scrolls 6. Why did they announce Elder Scrolls 6 so early? Because strategically, at the time, Bethesda was like, hey, we're going to experiment and do stuff like Fallout 76 and do some other stuff, but we want you to know that we are still making Elder Scrolls 6. Don't worry. Just because we're doing Starfield doesn't mean Elder Scrolls 6 isn't coming. And that was kind of the logic behind prematurely announcing Elder Scrolls 6. But something like that doesn't personally bother me because I know Elder Scrolls 6 is not an if, it's a when. It's an inevitability. So personally with a game like Elder Scrolls 6, I just don't give a shit because I know it's going to happen. Like Grand Theft Auto 6. One of the reasons I never gave a shit about the next Grand Theft Auto is because I knew there'd be another Grand Theft Auto someday. So it doesn't matter. But for something like your example, Halo Wars 3, that would drive me nuts if they're like announcing Halo Wars 3 and then like 3 years later we haven't heard anything from it, because the promise of a Halo Wars 3 is not a given. It's a hope, it's a wish. And if you announce it really, really early, then it becomes this like kind of like what Decoy Doctopus is talking about. It's like, uh-oh, is it going to get canceled? Uh-oh. Is it in trouble? Why did you announce it so early? Why is it taking you so long? Why would you announce it if you're nowhere near ready to... it starts to make the mind insecure, I don't know. It's not that I'm afraid of it ending. It's that I'm afraid of it going sideways. Does that make sense? So I'm not afraid of getting in the relationship because I'm afraid she's going to break up with me. I'm afraid of getting in the relationship because I don't know if I can trust this crazy bitch. And the Halo Wars 3 being announced 4 years before it's ready for market, that's a crazy bitch. That's a girl with daddy issues that's probably going to cheat on you, okay? But when Fallout 4 is announced and then released 6 months later, that's a good girl right there. That's a girl that's gonna feed you some cornbread and rub the the calluses off your toes at night and make sure you got a glass of warm milk on your bedside, boy. Ew, does anybody want any of that shit? It really just depends for me. It's all based on the game. Like, I don't need to know that you're making a Fable game over the course of the next 7,000 years, when the last thing I ever heard from Fable is you shut down Lionhead Studios because they tried to make a spin-off game. Like, don't really need you to brag for 45 years about how the Forza guys are making a Fable game. Just fucking surprise me 1 to 2 years in advance and say, by the way, the Forza guys are making a Fable game. Here's what it looks like. And then the next year be like, here's what it looks like again, and here's a release date. And then release the game, I don't need 75 fucking years of British comedians being in ads for Fable with almost zero gameplay talking about how great this game is going to be if and when Microsoft ever decides to get it out the fucking door. So it really just, it's all dependent. There are some games where you can announce it prematurely or announce it early, and that's fine, and some games where you can't. But you just got to understand that everything is different, and everything needs to be treated within the context of what the product is, what people expect from you, the developer, the publisher, what the demand is, what, announcing it early or announcing it close to launch would do to the hype and the excitement and the expectations surrounding the project. There's a lot of factors to consider, and I feel like when you don't consider those factors and you just sight unseen prematurely announce things just to have games in the pipeline, you really throw those important factors out the window and create a lot of hype for the sake of hype. Like, do we really need to know about Contraband just for it to disappear for many years and turn to vaporware? No. So why did they have to talk about it before they were really ready to show goddamn thing? Did we need to know about State of Decay 3 in advance like that just for it to end up in development hell? No, we really didn't. I understand why we learned about the initiative so early, because it was more about announcing the team than it was about announcing the project. So that one I can give a pass to, because the circumstances surrounding that team and the expectations and what we were expecting from them and what they were capable of doing is entirely different from something like State of Decay 3, which is just a follow-up to State of Decay 2 that apparently cannot be made in under 45 years. So I don't know. I guess that's my lazy answer, but I just feel like you can mitigate a lot of disappointment and avoid a lot of bad press and negativity and disappointment if you just try to, wait to announce your games until you're much more confident about the progression of the development and the timetable in which it'll be coming out. I just think that's it. The only real benefit to announcing a game super premature is generally just to drum up interest or assure your base that, hey, things are coming. So it's usually a sign of desperation. Sony's not desperate. They're in good shape. They're not desperate. And that's why they're not talking about all the games coming out, Microsoft's desperate. That's why they're trying to tell you about anything and everything. That's why they're like, Hideo Kojima has a video of a girl screaming at the camera with a bokeh effect, and it's called OD. And in the time since they started talking about that, we've gotten like 5 Death Strandings, a director's cut, and a fucking, a podcast from Mr. Kojima. So it's like, there's a difference. All right. Decoy Doctopus, speaking of which, writes in with his own comment, says, you didn't say whether or not the Rays won when you saw them, and who did they play? I saw the Tampa Bay Rays play the Baltimore Orioles. I thought I said that. It was my favorite baseball team versus my dad's favorite baseball team. We saw a game together. So it was the Baltimore Orioles versus the Tampa Bay Rays, and of course the Rays won. Why wouldn't they win? Personally, I'd prefer a podcast drop on Friday versus Wednesday, but I like Thursdays, so here's hoping that continues to work out. Well, yeah, it would be... So it's going to continue on Thursdays for now. I'm thinking about it. It might move to Friday. I just really like having my Fridays kind of opened up, because for my work schedule, it really does make things a lot easier for me. But I also agree that in a perfect world where I'm just obscenely rich and I don't need to work and I can just do the podcast as a pet project and don't worry about the rest, I agree Friday would be the most ideal day to release the show, because you're at the end of the week, all the news is out, and the weekend's going to be kind of a lull in breaking news, so there's nothing you have to really worry about happening shortly after the podcast goes live. Plus, everyone's enjoying their weekend. I love the idea of getting out of work on a Friday, driving home to a new episode of your favorite show. It's great. I think it's the perfect day, but I just don't know if I can move it just yet. And lastly, Cronky writes in and says, I'm really feeling the Xbox burnout as well. I'm just going to avoid the console like the plague. I'll be back later, but honestly, it isn't even the best place to play Xbox games now that I can play them on my PS5 Pro, ellipses. Well, I disagree with that. I still think it's the best place to play games, because I would like the Xbox look and feel and controller better than the PS5, regardless of how much better the PS5 Pro looks. But I totally get the point you're making, and you're right. It is embarrassing that Xbox is like, here are our games. They look best on our competitor's platform. Enjoy. Maybe buy a Series X one day, maybe. Yeah, I think it's just, right now, like I said, I'm taking a break from Disney. It's a healthy break, and I feel like I'm starting to build a little bit of like, I kind of miss a thing or two here. And when I come back, I'm expecting that it'll be a pretty good feeling, because distance makes the heart grow fonder. Maybe that's what you need to do when things get the way they are with Team Xbox. Just take a little break, go play some PlayStation, go play some Switch, go outside, touch some grass, as the kids say, go rewatch Fantastic Four at the theater, do whatever you gotta do. Go to JCPenney, see what's on sale in the men's section. You might even get a new shirt for work. I don't know. But, come back after some time and see how it feels then. I'm sure sometimes you just need a break from things when the situation surrounding, your relationship with that product or thing or anything, person, whatever, is souring a little bit, or just in a situation where it's like, I don't really like what I'm seeing here. I don't really like the way things are playing out here. So that's really all. But yeah, I mean, I hope we all find ourselves back where we were. I hope Xbox turns it around. The new hardware is great. They can stop it with the layoffs. They can turn things around. They can start managing their teams better and stop taking it out on the boots on the ground employees because of poor leadership and management. I really hope we can get to a place where we can feel good about Xbox again. But for now, it's just too much like, what is this fucking ROG tablet, firing people left and right, Call of Duty slock you're giving me? Like, I don't want this. I want Master Chief to show me his master cheeks. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But for now, I think there's nothing wrong with taking a break. I'm taking a little bit of a break. I'm playing with my donkey dong, and until I feel better, I just think it's healthy sometimes to say, hey, putting you at arm's length, not really getting great feelings and vibes and whatever. I'm just rambling now, guys. I'm tired. I'm gonna go shower and edit this podcast. So let's wrap it up, guys. I hope you have a great week. The Xbox On podcast is now coming to an end, but I want you to know that it's not over, because you can leave a comment, you can write in, you can listen to the show a second time, you can go tell your friends about it, you can leave a 5-star review on podcast services. But what you can't do is reach through your earbuds or car speaker and pull me out from your stereo and give me a kiss and tell me I'm a good boy, because that's not how science works, and you'd be stupid to think you could do that. But you can try, and I think it'd be funny if I was on the road and I drove past a car and I peeked in and I saw the driver's hand stuck in the stereo because they tried to reach in and grab the podcast host to give him a smooch, because I'd say, that's not how that works, as I drive past and surpass them in total kilometers driven. But anyway, I hope you all have a great week. Be safe, be well, enjoy your video games regardless of where you choose to play them. Remember that if something you love isn't bringing you joy, it's okay to take a break from it. There's no point engaging with something that's supposed to bring you joy if it's not currently bringing you joy. And also just remember, I brought you 322 straight weeks of Xbox podcasts, okay? Look at your politicians, look at your bank accounts, look at your healthcare, look at your neighbor and how they're doing. Pay attention to the homeless population. Pay attention to the condition of our environment, and ask yourself, what are they given to you in 322 consecutive weeks? Think about it. Am I more important? Have I produced and given more than your government? It's possible. And so with that in mind, I just want you to pencil in for the rest of your life, every time you vote in any local or major election, Jesse DeRosa, again and again, because my PP might be small, but my heart... Oh, wait, no, that's the new South Park episode. I just realized. That was okay. It wasn't that funny. I'm not really sure how to end this now. You know, sometimes on the podcast back in the day, I used to just end it by just drowning my voice out as the music would just play over it. So I'm wondering if I should do something like that. Oh, speaking of which, Olive Garden is going to bring back endless pasta soon. I'm very excited about that. But